encouraging like regulations and policy framework for doing sustainability and safety?
Yeah, so it's quite dynamic. You see, the sustainability paradigm globally, if you look at it, it's quite dynamic. It's changing every day. It's changing because of some evidences which are happening in the mining and other spaces. You know the BHP dam failure, in Amazon, which happened, and the Vale also, which impacted almost more than 450 villages and population to the extent of almost, 2 million people were affected. Same situations are sitting everywhere in India. With the climate change risk at its high potential, the intensity of climate change event is now, getting more severe day by day. So are we prepared for that kind of, sustainability of our systems here? That is one aspect which we need to look at. Secondly, regarding the design phase of the mine, are we addressing, these aspects going forward? Up to the closure, mapping down everything, It takes some money in designing the systems, you use softwares, you use predictive models, you have to use other references of the other mines, to see. But then you arrive at a design which you can say confidently that yes, my mine would be viable for next 20 years. Otherwise, if you go negative in between, where do you have the money to spend, on all these safety measures and sustainability is talked only? Then you will be landing either into the hands of the regulator who will stop your operation, or your customer will say that I don't want a defective product, or because you are damaging the environment, I don't want your product. Why people are investing in green steel and green cement now is because of this, that they want to contain that. So I think there is a larger perspective in the framework of the legal thing. SDGs and net zero by 2050 is okay, they have a plan. Like the top 5 companies, BHP, Rio Tinto, they have laid down. Anglo, if you know, they report on every SDG, their results, every quarter, which is a tall task. You can't ask Coal India to do that because, they have maybe 12,000 mines spread over India, and it is very difficult to have that SDG scorecard for each operation. So those are the challenges, but it will come to India, because there will be a global pressure. India has to take a formidable position in the mining space and also, support its own growth of 7 or 8% GDP for next 10 years or so. So, where does all that ammunition come from?
So I'll just cut you short here.
Yeah.
So would you explain, because like you said, it's not practiced in India, but it's practiced globally. So how do you think that this SDG concept can be implemented in India? Would you like to talk about it?
So implementation is simple, there are recommendations which other companies are doing, and there are, the World Economic Forum, everybody is laying down the criteria which is there. You can do it. Companies like Vedanta are doing we are doing the foreign disclosures now for other countries. So sustainability disclosure is one such thing, international basis, which can be done. Tata Steel is very close to it. Vedanta is doing it. There are examples, other companies are also doing. It's not very difficult, but it's, how you put it across all your operations. Like a company like Coal India or NMDC, which has numerous operations, you have to have a uniformity and auditing process in place so that you measure. Because once you measure, then only you can say that, you are within the limits or not. That will remain the crux challenge of it. But yes, at the design stage, you can address those things. And companies like us, we do that consulting advisory.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for your information. So like you mentioned, like Kamal mentioned, everything at the end of the day is money. So Jayashree, my question to you would be on the economic implications. And how do you think these companies can ensure this transition to sustainable practices, not impacting their financial conditions in between while they are going to implement the project?
Thank you, Sohini. Very good afternoon, everyone. Today, first of all, I would like to bring to your notice that instead of the flowers, there are purple helmets. So this is a very big transformation which has come to the dais. It should not go out of notice. So purple is a neutral color. It is not gender specific. So women mining in India or women in mining India is doing a great job. So of course, a round of applause for them. Regarding today's topic, sustainability transition, it is the buzzword. Like parents of my age are teaching children the definition of sustainability, which is a very simple thing, that we should be able to meet meet the needs of the present generation without compromising the needs of the future generation. So, sustainability mining has also definitely a different definition, where it is said that mining which should be economically viable, mining which should be environmentally and socially friendly. So that is sustainable mining. Now, Michelle gave a very good insight. In very short, two crisp words, she said, the ability to sustain. So this is sustainability. So this is really a takeaway from today's, discussion, that if you are able to sustain, definitely it is the sustainability. Now, coming back to my question. So at JMS, my company JMS Mining, we have, from very initial time, have invested into good state-of-art technology. Like we never we never used blasting method for our coal extraction. We are using continuous miner. That is number one. It is economical friendly because there is no diesel consumption. It completely runs on electricity, power, and battery. Regarding, so our consumption of POL per ton is less, consumption of water per ton is less, and of course consumption of other scarce resources is less. Even the continuous miner is built in such a way that the dust generation is also very less. Now you'll ask me that these packages definitely comes for a cost. Komatsu is going to tell us because of course we buy from them. So generally it is a very capital intensive package. It ranges from 50 to 60 CR, but it is only an initial pocket pinch. In the long run, it is quite effective. Its operational costs are less. It is environment friendly. We are able to extract the maximum resource at a time. It doesn't go for a breakdown so easily. And the best part is that it can be monitored from remotely. Like these are smart machines, and it can be done. You don't have to go to mine to see it, but it can be done from your office. So you are in a comfortable position monitoring what is going underground. So that is about one thing. But of course, we have to do a cost budget analysis, that if we are planning to put something in place, it should be, of course, cost analysis has to be done. Then the government is also giving us a lot of leverage, because coal is now a buzzword. And then I would also like to highlight one more very good feature about the continuous miner we use, that the spikes it has for taking out the coal, they also emit very less dust. Most of the dust which they emit, by water sprinkling system, it is put down then and there. So we say that we are of course going good, and you can see from the turnover of a company, though we invest a lot in capex, lot of it in state-of-art technology, but definitely with growing revenues, growing turnover, and of course now growing profitability, JMS has come a long way. Yeah. And regarding the safety part, if you have to always follow the procedures and the protocols, you have to follow the SOPs. Say once you start learning driving, if you keep breaking the traffic rules, definitely it's going to be unsafe. So we have to be safe in our daily lives. So I would also like to highlight one very good thing about a company, JMS, that early in the morning at 10 o'clock, we are to take a safety oath. So in the mind, it runs that we have to be safe in all spheres of our life. So once you practice it daily, like we pray, when we are praying, we are imbibing something inside. So with this oath, we have all learned to be safe in all spheres of life, not only under mine or over surface, but in all spheres of life. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jayashree. I would like to say something. When we started this session, she mentioned that she is not a technical person. But honestly, she said a lot of sales and technical things about our machinery. And they are one of the longest running user of our equipment. And thank you so much for promoting our equipments in such a great forum. Thank you very much.
Definitely worth a mention. And of course, my director, sir, he's guided me through. I have had a lot of 2 or 3 mine visits where I had an understanding of the mines. So,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Thank you, Jayashree. So I think we've spoken about the technical innovation and economic implications. And so, Dennis, my next question will be for you in terms of global perspectives and case studies. So how do you think the safety and sustainability across regions and culture, because we are at a forum where we are crossing cultures and regions, we are talking about collaboration. So how do you think implementing it as well as adopting to it is helpful all across?
I think I could start talking generally, and generally you would say in developed nations, mines are generally larger, generally more efficient, generally more mechanised. Those countries generally are more regulated. Businesses are more likely to invest in safety and sustainability. And the workforce generally is a bit harder to come by. Conversely, again, generalising, developing nations, smaller mines, less efficient, less mechanism, blah-de-blah, the exact opposite. Generally less regulated. Where there are regulations, they're generally hard to enforce. But the problem with generalisations and rules of thumbs is there's always exceptions. And I don't know that it's necessarily right to look at regional differences, because every region, every market has different cases where they have one end of the spectrum and the other end of the spectrum. And I think, for instance, there's an Australian company called Russell Mineral Equipment, and they do mill lining systems. Their most innovative system, and obviously the most costly system, hasn't been put in a mine in America, hasn't been put in a mine in Australia, it's in a mine in Indonesia. So another company, another Australian company, Immersive Technologies, I don't know if you've ever come across them, they're here in India, really clever simulation technology to help you learn how to use mining equipment. They are all over the globe. They are in markets that you would think wouldn't spend money on simulation training, and of course in other markets. They were also instrumental in supporting women in India to get into the mining industry in learning how to drive the big trucks, you know. So saving on fuel and wear and tear by doing that training in a simulated environment first. Saying all of that, however, I'd say in the developed nations, one of the things we are seeing is a difficulty, and India's just doing this as well, to find staff, to find a workforce. In Australia, we have 26 million people. 26 million people, the bulk of them are on the eastern seaboard. Our mining's not on the eastern seaboard. Most of it's in the west, in remote areas, and they really struggle to get a workforce. They pay them more money to do so, but